What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to become more passionate. Now, at the top, I'd like to acknowledge that I live a very privileged life. Along my journey, I've been blessed with a lot of things that were frankly outside of my control. And because of that, I haven't faced a lot of barriers that other people will. These are the steps that I took personally to become a more passionate person. Hopefully you can take something from this video and become a more passionate person yourself. So there's three general steps that I took to become more passionate. So step number one is to have a mindset shift. The first book that set me down my self-improvement journey was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, which, just hold on one second. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. My favorite chapter in this book is the last chapter, and it's titled, You're Going to Die. So in the chapter, Mark Manson basically says that there's two different ways that we can deal with our mortality. We can be bummed out by it and get down because we think that nothing really matters and we kind of take a nihilistic approach to it. Or we can use this knowledge to liberate us in order to actually take action, because you only get one crack at this. You may as well actually get out there and try to do things. There's another video on YouTube that I love, which is called Optimistic Nihilism by a channel called Kurzgesagt. I'll leave a link in the description down below, but basically they say the same thing. The fact that we're going to die and everything in your world is going to eventually just evaporate into dust, that should liberate you, because you only get one opportunity to get out there and try new things. The way that I frame this mindset shift in my head is I want to be the type of person to jump in the pool. There's two types of people in this world, people who dip their toes in the pool and people who jump in the pool. And I think by and large, the people who jump into the pool live a much more wild, happy, fulfilled life because they're willing to take chances. And ultimately later in life, when you're on your deathbed, you're gonna be more satisfied with how things went in your life because you actually took chances. Most people, when they get to the end, their regrets have more to do with the things that they were too afraid to do and less to do with the things that they actually did. So it goes without saying that I recommend The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But if you're looking for another strategy to kind of have this mindset shift and become somebody who actually jumps into the pool, I would recommend that you check out Tim Ferriss's comfort challenges. So what these are they're challenges that you do increasingly more disagreeable things that aren't going to harm anyone, but they're just going to put you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. By the way, I'm going to link to these comfort challenges in the description box below. But the first challenge is to make strong eye contact with people. Have other people break eye contact with you and not the other way around. And already, this is something that is very benign, but you can kind of feel the uncomfortableness start to arise in your body. Some of the other comfort challenges he has are to lay down in a public place and just lay down for a minute, which is, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just makes us feel uncomfortable. As you flex this muscle of doing things that make you uncomfortable, you'll be more willing to take chances and ultimately start to cultivate a passion. So step two, after you've conceded that you're willing to try new things and to jump into the proverbial pool, is to do something. So also in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Mark Manson says that most people have this notion they're going to be hanging around one day, they're going to have this magical moment of inspiration, and then they're going to be motivated, and then they're going to fall into action, and then the process will repeat like this: inspiration, motivation, and then action. And he argues that it's actually the opposite. Once we start to take action, that's when we find motivation and inspiration. It's people who are doing things that actually find the motivation to do more things. So the wrong approach is to do nothing and hope that you just magically find a passion. And the correct approach is to just start trying things and see what actually sticks. Now, when it comes to actually choosing the thing that you're going to try in the first place, if there's something that's been in the back of your mind that you've wanted to try for a while, I highly recommend that you start there. But if you don't have anything like that, if you don't have anything in the back of your mind, if you don't have any nagging thoughts of activities that you want to try or hobbies that you want to adopt, what you can do is choose something that you want to have start shaping your identity. So this is something that I actually decided to do with reading. Initially, I didn't have a passion for reading. Reading was something that the kids who are good at English did. It's not something that somebody who's more mathematically inclined just naturally falls into. But I decided that being a reader is something that I wanted to actually become. Now, being tied to certain identities can get us into a lot of trouble, but we can also use this tool in order to better ourselves. I've always had a passion for learning, and I knew that there was a ton for me to learn if I actually became a reader. And after I had my mindset shift and started trying to read, I started working hard at it, and eventually it became a passion of mine. There's one other thing that I want to talk about when it comes to actually trying new things. And this idea comes from Abdaal, who's another YouTuber that I absolutely love. And I'm paraphrasing him a little bit here, but basically what he presented in his podcast was the idea that the more things that you do, the more opportunity you have for serendipitous occurrences to happen. If you're reading and engaging in a community and going out for walks and exercising, you'll just naturally have more points where you're meeting new people and you have opportunities for new stuff to happen. Whereas if you aren't actually getting out there and trying new things, the opportunities that came your way by actually doing things would have never come your way in the first place. So just start doing things, even if it doesn't work out. Maybe incorporating into a certain community is going to eventually lead to something that you'll develop a passion in. And that brings us to our third step, which is to work hard. There's a universal truth that the things that you work hard at, you get better at. Now, maybe universal truth is a little bit overbearing, and there are definitely instances that this isn't necessarily the case, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to get at. We tend to find this truth in a lot of the areas that we apply ourselves to. And the more you apply this general principle, the more passionate you'll become about the things that you're doing. Nobody enjoys swimming their very first swimming lesson because it's hard and they aren't good at it. But as you work hard at something and as you get better at it, you'll find yourself gravitating more towards that activity. This is something that I personally experienced with working out. Now, I'm not the most genetically gifted guy, and I certainly didn't have a knack for the gym when I first got in it. In fact, before I got into the gym, I used to view myself very negatively, and I used to have a ton of insecurities about my body. But as I worked hard and I saw improvements, I realized that I was becoming more passionate about what I was doing. But it's the hard work that proved the results that ultimately led to my extreme enthusiasm and passion for working out. The last little tip that I'll leave you with is if you're trying to get into a new activity, look for the people who are already passionate about it. If you can see any given activity through their eyes, hopefully that can inspire you to become more engaged in what you're doing. So these are the 3 steps that I use to become a more passionate person, but if this doesn't work for you, that's totally fine. Try another approach. This is just what worked for me, but there's a million other people out there with a million different ideas. The only way that you can guarantee that you'll find your passion is if you don't give up on trying to find your passion. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.